Welcome back to the House of Wellness. If we're lucky enough to be young and fit, we don't really think too much about what would happen if we die. However, once you've had kids, that tends to change. I want to ask, did you make a will before or after having Willow, Jo?
Oh, I'm ashamed to say it was a long time after we had Willow, because it's one of those things where you think, I've got to do that, I've got to do that, I should, and then you never make time for it.
And it can be horrible if you end up in that situation without a will. So it's not just about passing on your assets and finances, it's protecting your loved ones should the worst happen. But more than half of Australian adults don't have a valid and up-to-date will.
Younger people especially may see it as too morbid to think about or too complicated, but the reality is it's important that our loved ones are clear about our wishes, especially when it comes to who would look after our kids.
And one Aussie company is on a mission to take the cost, hassle and confusion out of wills with a DIY approach that can be done online in just 30 minutes.
A friend of ours passed away unexpectedly in her mid-30s without a will. And we saw the difficulties that created for her family, already grieving for a really difficult situation personally. There was then this logistical and legal difficulty added on top of it without a will. And so seeing that firsthand and got us thinking about why is it that so many Australians don't have a will?
Adam Lebowski was shocked to learn that 50% of Australians don't have a will.
There seems to be three main roadblocks to people writing a will: the cost, the hassle, and that it's not something that they really want to think about.
The taboo surrounding wills and death led Adam to create Safewill.com, an online platform where users can create a personalised, low-cost, legally binding will in less than 20 minutes, all from the comfort of their own home.
We're trying to normalise wills. We're trying to open up the conversation around estate planning and will writing, and we're trying to make it easy and affordable for everyone to do so. Safewill ticks all of the standard boxes of will writing, the appointment of executors, division of estates, guardians for children. But on top of that, we've really considered things like appointing a guardian for your pet, creating a pet care fund, specifying funeral wishes, leaving behind meaningful gifts to people and organisations who have meant the world to you. These are really important parts of will writing that are often overlooked.
Death is an awful thing to think about, and no one wants to think about, I think, especially when you've got young children. But unfortunately, things do happen, and I think it's important to think about those things. It automatically goes into the too hard basket straight away, because you get onto Google, there's all these wills that you can download, and that's just where do you start.
30-year-old Sachi Sheldon found herself at a stage of life where her assets and responsibilities could potentially outlive her.
I first started thinking about getting a will when we purchased this place a couple of years ago, and we were about to get married, and I knew that we wanted to have children in the next couple of years. So I needed something that was easy to adapt and change, but didn't take a lot of time, but also was low cost. I've had this Safewill in place for probably 6 months now. The website was amazing. I think I spent 2 minutes on the website before I'd already signed up. So it really caught my attention for where I am at life.
And while Sachi and Adam don't look old enough to be your typical will writers, they're taking responsibility for a vital piece of life administration.
I think growing up, my view was you only needed a will if you had family trusts and you had a complicated, I guess, financial situation or divorced parents or whatever it may be. But I think the everyday Joe blog should have a will, no matter what your situation is.
Our mission is to have every adult in Australia with a will. We're starting off with making sure that every parent in Australia has a will and that every single underage child has a guardianship provision in place for what would happen if their parents were to pass away. Instead of looking at it as a death-related product, we think that wills are something which is a really important part of your legacy. It's an important opportunity to show the people that you love how much they mean to you and to put safeguards in place to make sure that they're protected no matter what happens.